once again, this is Dr. Bill Bailey, and this is the VirtZine Netcast. I'm glad you could join us this week on VirtZine. VirtZine is the magazine, the online magazine of virtualization and cloud computing. And I'm glad you could join us for this video edition of VirtZine. We are proud members of the Tech Podcast Network, techpodcast.com. If it's tech, it's right here on the VirtZine Netcast. Oh boy, we had a lot of stuff going on this week due to the Consumer Electronics Show, CES. Wow. We had great coverage, by the way, through Tech Podcast. Tech Podcast crew was there all week long for CES. And if you go to tpn.tv, you can see their reports that they did from the CES floor. So check that out. One of the things they talked about there was Dell's Wyse Group. You know, they bought Wyse. WYSE, the terminal manufacturer. I remember Wyse terminals from way back. The Wyse Group introduced a stick, like a USB drive type stick, that turns an HDMI display into a thin client. Now, this is great for virtualization and cloud computing. I can think of applications for this, even like in the hospital where I work, High Point Regional Health System. You could take an HD display TV with an HDMI connector, plug this into it, and turn it into a thin client for VMware View or whatever. I mean, this is great. This is a cool idea. So the company has introduced this new thin client. You can put it in your pocket. It says, aimed more at the consumer market rather than the enterprise market, which I can understand. There's not that many applications for large HD thin clients. The hospital is one location where that would be applicable, but at any rate, this is Dell's Project Ophelia. It looks like a kind of big USB flash drive, but you plug it into a TV or a monitor. You know, a lot of monitors these days have HDMI as well. And it allows you to access your music, your movies, your pictures, other data that are stored in your personal cloud with Dell Wyse Cloud Client software. You can also play games, access documents, perform other PC-like tasks with a TV on the Project Ophelia stick when it's plugged in. So, pretty cool. Now, it's running Google's Android 4.0 as its operating system, which means you can use it to surf the web, check your email, play media, do all kinds of stuff with this. So, pretty neat idea. And I thought that was kind of cool coming out of the show. So, I wanted to mention that. Now, in other news, this week, we had a fault that occurred in DropBox for 15 hours or so. DropBox announced Friday morning that it had fixed problems in its ability to serve clients storing images and files on the DropBox accounts after a 15.5-hour outage. The team worked on restoring the service, said, "Thanks for all your patience. We're happy to let you know the issues have all been fixed, including the ability to upload or sync files, which had been out since 3:30 Pacific time on Thursday as of this report." Now, obviously, the report is not immediate. So, at any rate, the issue that it brought up, of course, is what we've discussed here on VirtZine before, and that is the dependence on cloud computing. Now, what left users here on DropBox guessing is they didn't know if it was a DropBox issue or if it was an Amazon issue. Amazon is the underlying infrastructure, you might say, that DropBox was using for some of its storage. And the outage in Amazon Web Services in their simple storage service, the S3 service, is maybe what caused the problem with DropBox. So, this particular article that I saw this was from January 11th. So yeah, this was really recent. This was this week. I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't want to say that until I checked it out. But I wasn't impacted by it, but it just was that I wasn't using DropBox at the time. But this, again, it opens up this question of the dependability, the reliance on cloud computing. Can we rely on it? And until we can fully rely on it consistently, it's going to be hard to get a lot of really hardcore users to adopt it. Now, for me, the convenience is absolutely awesome. I'm a great DropBox fan, don't get me wrong. I really love DropBox, use it all the time, but it does bring up some interesting questions. Now, last thing I want to talk about here is an opinion piece I wrote. I wrote it, as a matter of fact, this morning. This is a Saturday morning, January the 12th, and there may be some folks read this and go, get a little put out with me, but it's my opinion as a Citrix administrator at High Point Regional Health System, and I've, as you know, or may know, I've been a Citrix administrator for years and years and years, also a VMware administrator and webmaster and a lot of other things, but Citrix, you know, hey, you've been good to me, like the old thing with interviewing the boxer. Your boxing has been very good to me, Howard. Well, Citrix has been very good to me professionally, but as my opinion piece states here, I was looking basically at two different things. One is, will Cisco buy Citrix? This was a rumor that was going around as recently as October that they were talking about this. But at the same time, I think Citrix may be acquired one way or another, simply because I think they've been making some moves that are a little questionable. Now, this is just me talking. It's my personal opinion. This in no way represents High Point Regional Health System or any other entity. Simply my opinion, okay? My personal opinion is that they're being quite heavy-handed dealing with their customers and trying to get them to re-up with their subscription advantage program, and at the same time not fully supporting older platforms that we as administrators are stuck with having to support. I still have to support applications that will only run on Windows 2003 or Windows XP. Sorry, that's just the way it is. My vendors of those applications aren't making the move to Windows 2008 64-bit, which is all that Citrix 6.0 and above will run on. You are not allowed to run it on anything else. So 2008 would be the lowest level. Probably Server 2012, I'm sure, you know, is the direction they're heading. And that's kind of obvious in one sense. That is the future. That's what Microsoft's putting out. Citrix is very closely tied to Microsoft, and so they have that need to appease them. But what about the customer? The customer, like me, is stuck having to run Windows 2003 servers, and I asked a Citrix engineer, as I mentioned in this article that I wrote, I asked a Citrix engineer, what am I supposed to do? And he said, well, just run Citrix 5. That's what you're running now. Well, okay, fine. If I do that, why should I upgrade my subscription advantage? Why should I keep paying all this money if you're taking me to places I can't go yet? And then act very condescending about it. And then if I look at other alternatives like VMware View and ThinApp and things of that nature, you call me an idiot. You think I'm joking. I had a Citrix sales engineer that accompanied a salesperson tell me, you're crazy for running VMware View and ThinApp and spending all this money for this infrastructure. Well, guy, we'd already committed to it, dude. You know, upper management had already made that decision. And he's calling me crazy. And I told him, I said, you are being pretty arrogant, aren't you? He said, yes, I am. And I thought, you're really winning over customers, dude. So, I mean, you've got to be more customer-centric, more customer-aware. And Cisco has always been, at least the dealings I've had with Cisco, with UCS and some other things that I've dealt with as a server administrator and server engineer, they have been very easygoing, very easy to get along with, very accommodating. So if Cisco buys Citrix, I hope they get their Citrix salespeople in line. That's all I'm saying, okay? So just an opinion piece. I encourage you to read it. It's out there on the VirtZine website, which is VirtZine.com. And maybe I'm stirring the pot up a bit with our local Citrix sales force. If so, sorry guys, but you needed a stick poked at you on this one, okay? Anyway, well, that's it for this week. Join us again next time on VirtZine. Remember until then to keep your head in the cloud.